The concept of mockbusters is something that has existed for many years, since the 70s or maybe even earlier. In case you don't know what a mockbuster is, it's quite simple. These are films that take inspiration from blockbusters, meaning very successful movies, and try to copy these highly successful films. It's basically easy money. Unfortunately, there are many mockbusters that blatantly copy popular superhero movies, and in my view, they almost severely damage the image of the original films. Since I've already made 2 videos about the most blatant Marvel copycat movies, I also had to make one about DC. This is the most blatant and ridiculous copycats of superhero movies, DC version. Rise of the Black Bat. If the topic is about copying superhero movies, it's obvious that Batman movies would suffer from this as well. After Superman, Batman is the most famous DC character, and he's much more successful in cinemas than Superman. The Batman movies that clearly had the most impact and success were Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Therefore, the target was obvious for those who like to copy. The movie they decided to copy specifically was The Dark Knight Rises, the last of the trilogy. Just with the name, it's clear that we're about to watch a copycat of The Dark Knight Rises. And the content of the movie confirms it. The film is about a man named Tony Queen, who transforms into Black Bat to fight the evil in a city. His costume looks a bit familiar, don't you agree? The only difference between the 2 films is that this one looks like it was filmed with a mobile phone, and the city doesn't even look real. But other than that, there's no doubt that Rise of the Black Bat tried to copy The Dark Knight Rises. And guess who did this copycat? Tomcat Films, the same company that did Captain Battle Legacy War, Metal Man, and The Amazing Bulk. In case you don't know the movies I'm referring to, you need to check out my videos on the most blatant copycats of Marvel movies. Superman Donner. You know, this is my 3rd video talking about movies that copied famous superhero movies, and one thing I found strange was that I didn't come across a copy of a Superman movie. I definitely felt something was off. Superman is the most famous superhero, and no one thought about copying one of his movies. But my worries were unnecessary, because, obviously, someone did make a copy of a Superman movie. Knowing this, I feel more at ease because I was genuinely starting to get concerned. In 1979, the movie Superman Donner was released in Turkey. Translated, it means Superman Returns. You know, the name and the cover are a bit suspiciously familiar. But when you get to the plot, that's when you realize it's a true copycat, and a really blatant one. The story centers around a baby that arrives on Earth from a planet called Krypto. That baby was adopted by some farmers. When he grew up, he discovered through his biological father that he was the last survivor of his home planet. And after that, he went on to face villains, like any good superhero. But honestly, after seeing and discovering so many copycats, it doesn't even bother me anymore to see such blatant copies of the original works. What really bothers me is the low production quality of these films. The stars in the universe in this movie are made of cardboard. Yes, you heard that right. Cardboard. The planet Krypto looks like one of those balls you put on Christmas trees for decoration. Since they're not going to put effort into the script, I just ask that they at least try a little harder with the production. And the actor was also not the best choice, as he constantly had the same expression on his face regardless of the situation he was in. It makes it hard not to feel secondhand embarrassment watching these films. Superman, Indian version. We talked about how blatant and ridiculous Superman Donner is. But I need to tell you something. Something I didn't even want to share because it makes me feel hopeless. This might shock you or even upset you. But after Superman Donner, there was a fever of Superman movie copycats. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that Superman Donner is actually the best and most normal Superman copycat movie. I warned you. But I know, even with a warning, no one is prepared to hear something like this. In 1987, the Indian version of Superman came out. The story is basically the same as the original Superman. The fights are just ridiculous, completely non-credible. The Kal-El baby on Krypton is not even the same baby Kal-El on Earth. The thing with these movies is that my suspension of disbelief is not activated. I just can't believe that he is Superman because the movie does everything possible to make me not believe. Oh, and in the movie, for no reason, a woman would occasionally appear dancing. And no, there was no connection between this woman and her dances with Superman. She would just appear for no reason. And these scenes lasted for long periods of time. Fortunately, these copycats don't do much damage to Superman's image because, thankfully, not many people watch these films. But these copycats completely disrespect the original works. Alia's Batman and Robin. In 1989, Jack Nicholson's Batman was released, and it was definitely a successful film, grossing over $400 million at the box office. And we all know how much the copycat enthusiasts love it when a movie is successful. It's their bread and butter. They are always waiting for such moments. The copycat for this film was made in the Philippines in 1990, just a year later. They don't waste any time. But I don't judge that, because it's a really smart move to take advantage of the hype of the original movie while it lasts. In this film, we find versions of Batman, the Joker, and the Penguin. But I think the worst part of the film is the ridicule and near destruction of the Joker's image. Like, what happened with his hair? His hair, it's not like that. And he is not constantly laughing either. And if you thought only the Indian filmmakers liked turning superheroes into dancers, you were very mistaken. This film features many musical scenes. Even Spider-Man wanted to join in on the musical numbers. Superman Telugu. A wealthy Indian boy loses his parents and all the jewels in his house one day. After this event, the boy decides to pray to a Hindu god. And what did he pray for? Well, he asked for the powers of Hanuman. It's similar to Superman, but since that Hindu god didn't know Superman, he transformed the boy into something as close as possible. The costume is probably the worst among the Superman copies. The fights are equally bad. And for some reason, Indian filmmakers love to insert dances and songs into their movies, even though they add no value to the film. I don't think it's even worth commenting on the CGI effects. These scenes speak for themselves. But regarding the dance scenes, maybe the Indians uncovered a secret talent that Superman has that was never explored in the comics or movies. After all, he is Superman. He must be good at everything. Maybe in the new DCU by James Gunn, they'll explore this aspect of Clark Kent. Daryl, another Indian Superman movie copycat. It's clear they love him, especially seeing him dance. And if you were surprised that Superman can dance, this movie confirms that dancing is actually his main talent. Yes, that's right. Even bigger than his ability to fight or fly. Daryl is a film that uses Superman as inspiration for its protagonist, but only for his costume. The creators of this movie were smarter than the others because the content of the movie is about dancing, not about Superman saving the world. So, we can't really say it's a copycat, can we? And this time, he had a companion who also changed professions. Spider-Woman. It seems that both of them got tired of being superheroes and decided together that they were born to dance, and that was what they wanted to do for the rest of their lives. No judgment on that. I just want everybody to be happy. But, you know, when some supervillain comes to threaten the world, I don't think their dancing skills will help much. Now, what I want you to tell me is, have you seen any of these films? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want the second part, you already know what to do. Just comment part 2. And your final step is to click in the video that is showing up right now. You really need to check out the Marvel version if you haven't already. I promise you that you will be even more shocked than you are now.